Honorable Speaker Disapelo Kiurapakse, President of the IPU Dr. Tulia Axon, President of the Pan-African Parliament, Honorable Senator Chief Fortune Cherumbira, Secretary General of the SADC-PF, Excellency Buemo Segoma, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Members of Parliament, Madam Clerk of Parliament and staff, distinguished guests. It is an honor and a privilege to address the newly elected 13th Parliament of Botswana on behalf of the SADC Parliamentary Forum during the orientation session for the members. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to the newly elected Speaker and Deputy Speaker on your recent elections. Your office is entrusted with fulfilling your Parliament's role as a pillar in the governance of your country, fostering respect for the institution of Parliament and maintaining public confidence in the parliamentary system. As presiding officers, your task will be to guide the legislative agenda of this Parliament and ensure the smooth functioning and integrity of the legislative process. I am confident that under your leadership, the Parliament of Botswana will be a dynamic forum where constructive debate, scrutiny, and lawmaking will flourish, with your office guiding the institution to uphold the democratic values that Botswana is known for. I also take this opportunity to congratulate His Excellency Advocate Duma Gideon Boko, former SADC-PF Executive Committee member and chairperson of the Legal Subcommittee, on his recent election as the 6th President of Botswana. It is with great enthusiasm that I commend all Botswana for their mature and exemplary conduct throughout the electoral cycle, which significantly enhanced the credibility and integrity of the elections and demonstrated the strength and vibrancy of Botswana's democracy. I cannot overstate the significance of the recent elections and the smooth transition of power for our region. Botswana has been an example. It has added to the other instances where our region has upheld the mantle of democracy. The Republic of South Africa, for instance, made history with the installation of a coalition government in the bid to ensure stable and inclusive government to meet the challenges they face. We salute this courageous initiative to deliver democratic government in one of our member states. The Parliament of Botswana, as a founding and active member parliament, holds an important place within the SADC-PF. Your consistent contributions to our shared vision of a democratic and prosperous SADC region are invaluable. The Botswana Parliament's generous hosting of the Plenary Assembly and other forum activities on numerous occasions is a demonstration of your commitment to our work. As the SADC-PF, we look forward to further strengthening our ties, particularly as your Parliament navigates the transformative path that you have set for yourself in your quest to deal with the diverse challenges placed on you by the dynamic environment in which you are operating. The role of Parliament in a democracy cannot be overstated. It serves as a vital link between the people and their government, acting as a voice for citizens and a safeguard of democratic accountability as mandated by constitutions. It is your role to ensure that the laws and policies enacted truly reflect the will and aspirations of the people. A democratic parliament must remain responsive to the evolving expectations of its citizens. The orientation of members after a general election is an opportune time to remind ourselves as Parliament of the benchmarks for democratic legislatures in Southern Africa, which we collectively developed and adopted in 2010 to offer a framework to assess and enhance effectiveness, accountability, inclusivity, and transparency of parliaments in the region. The benchmarks are aimed at building democratic legislatures that are responsive to citizens' needs, to oversee government actions, to legislate effectively, and uphold the rule of law. In this regard, they set standards for parliaments in key areas, including ensuring representation and inclusivity for all segments of society, promoting accountability and transparency in parliamentary operations, and supporting legislative effectiveness through thorough processes for research, debate, and review. The benchmarks also advocate for meaningful citizen engagement, institutional independence, sufficient resources, the protection of human rights, and the rule of law. They highlight the importance of gender equality and encourage electoral reforms and gender-sensitive policies to support women's representation. The benchmarks serve as a foundation for reforms to ensure continuous improvement by enabling member parliaments to evaluate and refine their performance. As a member of the SADC-PF, the Parliament of Botswana has access to capacity building programs that will enable honorable members and staff to expand their knowledge and skills for legislative effectiveness. The SADC-PF is fully committed to supporting you in this journey and helping to build the capacity of members of parliament and staff to address complex national, regional, and international issues. We are encouraged by the positive trends in the composition of this parliament, particularly the appointment of young people among the specially appointed members. Youth involvement is a critical component of a healthy democracy, and we commend Botswana for recognizing the importance of including the voices of young leaders who will contribute fresh perspectives to the legislative process. While we celebrate the various advancements, we need to pay equal attention to the issue of gender inequality in Parliament, which has remained an area that requires continuous attention from one election cycle to the other. Gender representation is an essential condition for good democratic governance, as it ensures that all segments of society have a voice in legislative processes and decision-making. When parliaments reflect the diverse perspectives and lived experiences of both men and women, their decisions result in more inclusive, equitable policies responsive to the citizens' needs. Equal gender representation enhances the legitimacy of political institutions and fosters trust and engagement because citizens feel accurately represented by their leaders. The presence of women in decision-making roles also challenges long-standing gender biases and creates a pathway for younger generations to see themselves in leadership, helping dismantle systemic inequalities. Ultimately, gender parity is not only a measure of democratic fairness, but also a critical factor in creating resilient, just, and forward-thinking societies. As we look to the future, I also encourage the new Parliament of Botswana to take up contemporary issues affecting our region, such as climate change, food security, digital transformation, and economic inequality. These pressing challenges demand proactive, forward-thinking policies and legislative responses. As parliaments of the region, we share a collective responsibility to enact laws that support sustainable development, uphold human rights, and foster inclusivity. That's how we can lay the groundwork for a more resilient and equitable future. The 13th Parliament comes at a time when the transformation of the SADC-PF into the SADC Parliament is in full swing. As you may well recall, during the 44th Ordinary Summit of SADC Heads of State and Government, held from 7th to 19th August 2024 in Harare, Zimbabwe, it was reported that 12 out of the 16 SADC member states had signed the agreement amending the SADC Treaty to recognize the SADC Parliament as one of the SADC institutions. In accordance with Article 9(1) of the treaty, the countries that are now signed up are Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Seychelles, South Africa, the United Republic of Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. The agreement entered into force on 11th July 2024. In line with the approved roadmap, the draft protocol establishing the SADC Parliament was disseminated to member states on 18th August for their review. Member states are expected to submit their comments to Secretariat within 6 months. We urge the Parliament of Botswana to continue the necessary engagement with the executive to sign the agreement. Our wish is for all the member parliaments of the SADC-PF to be members of the SADC Parliament. In closing, I reiterate our warmest congratulations and our enduring support to your Parliament. As your Parliament advances its legislative agenda under the theme of promoting effective legislation for sustainable governance, you can count on the SADC-PF for solidarity and support. I thank you.